Hi guys, so today's video is a New Year's set. I've done like a pearly chromey clock and some ombres with little Julie bits that I've seen on a different set and really like the look of. So where are we? Not in shot for that bit. So I am using a builder gel for this one because it is the shade that I want. But by all means you could go straight in on acrylic or hard gel or use a new gel polish. This is just one that I liked and it has like a slight sparkle in it. So even though I keep the nails matte, it still gives that bit of sparkle. So I hope you all had, for those of you that celebrate, a good Christmas and that you had a nice time with family, friends and got everything that you wanted. We had a lovely day, the three of us. Lovely dinner. I finally scaled back my portions this year so I didn't have enough to feed the 5,000 left in my fridge. Because last year it filled the fridge and we spent a week eating it. So I was better behaved this year. But we did, I say we did, my husband did put all the leftovers into a quiche. So all the meat and all the veg and then just eggs and cheese. I'm sure it was beautiful. Absolutely stunning. So I'm going in with a second coat here. And now I'm wiping off the tacky layer. A tip I got off somebody else and tried and worked really well is that if you are going to matte top coat, then even if it's not a builder gel and it's just a gel polish, still wipe off your tacky layer. Because do you notice that sometimes when you use a matte top coat, you might occasionally get those little bits that are still a little bit damp looking? And that is where the inhibition layer or the tacky layer has mixed in with your matte top coat. So if you wipe that off, then you're not contaminating your brush and you're not mixing anything. You will just get your nice layer of matte. Now because that was runny, I flipped it over to make sure it was nice and smooth. So I'm doing my ombre today with a pigment palette. This is not an expensive one. This is from Shein or Thankyou. It's always one of the two. I have a problem. And just a fluffy brush. Now, you will see me use this spider gel. And it's a goddamn disaster. So I left one nail at the end to film separately. And did that on TikTok using a liner brush and gel. Works much better. So, the matte top coat, I only cured it for 30 seconds rather than the 60 seconds. And then I'm going in with my pigment powder. And I'm just gently rubbing that in kind of like in circular motions. Just lightly at first, and then I do try to build it up. The only thing I will say, and maybe it's I'm not experienced with using the pigment powders. This is maybe the third time I've even attempted to use this palette. I did want it darker at the bottom, more blacker, but I did struggle to get that built up. So I don't know whether that's inexperience with using them for me, or if these ones from Shein/Temu just aren't really buildable. Not entirely sure. Those of you with different pigment palettes may have an insight into that. But I'm just popping that on there and getting it how I wanted. I'm really, really good at acrylic ombre. Not so good at gel, so I thought I'd give powder a try. But yeah. So what do you all do with your Christmas? So if you have Christmas dinner and you feed the 5,000 like I do, what do you do with your leftovers? Do you just like eat them as like snacks over the next few days, toss them or put them into recipes? So I go back over this with a matte top coat. this is one I got from Temu to try. Because I obviously, with me filming videos for this and the bits for Instagram and trying nail designs, I go through quite a lot of top coats. So for designs like this, I am now just buying cheaper ones and saving the more expensive ones for when I take the odd client. So that has been cured. Now, there was a first attempt with this spider gel that was frickin' shocking. So naturally, you know, I binned that one. This one isn't that brilliant either. So I did a video for TikTok where I painted it on with black gel paint and a very skinny liner brush. And would you believe it if I said the lines came out skinnier than this one? And looking way neater. So if you don't have spider gel, use a liner brush and gel paint or gel polish. And even if you do have spider gel, use a gel paint and a liner. So much easier, so much quicker, and so much less faffing around. So I saw a design similar to this on either TikTok or YouTube, and I really liked like the I don't know what you call them, the hanging bits, and then like the little coloured dots, and I thought, you know, that looks really pretty. So I have incorporated that. So I'm just dotting these on. Now everything that's gone on here, with the exception of the spider gel, is no wipe. And the black dots when I do them is no wipe gel paint as well. So because I already matte top coated the design, I just wipe the inhibition layer off these and leave them. However, if you do with gel polish, you could then go back over and matte top coat. And if you wanted to keep the gold parts shiny, but don't have a gel paint or a no wipe, you could mix a tiny bit of gold chrome powder in with a bit of top coat and then do the dots with that. So then you would have your shiny on top, if that made sense. But yeah, a gold glittery gel polish, if you don't have a paint like that, with a tiny bit of chrome powder added just to bulk out the colour so there's no gap, so it's not just like a bit of clear with glitter, would also work really well. And even, to be honest, tiny little flecks of glitter would work, you know, like if you get a multi-mix and you have like the little small round or hex ones. So this one has also been matte top coated. I matte top coated them all. And I'm going in with this is just a flat gel brush and a no wipe gel paint. And I'm just moving that around until I get the size and shape that I'm wanting. It doesn't have to be completely flat because I'm going over it with a pearly polish, but it does need to kind of be level, or at least covered so there isn't any naked patches. If you don't have a pearly polish, mine is just a cheap one I got off eBay. You can use a pearly chrome. That's if you even wanted it pearly. You could always just leave it white or do it cream. Although I did have an idea afterwards, and that was to matte top coat the circle I'd just done and then go over it with a very, very watery light brown watercolour, and it'd give it like old paper look. So I popped that into cure, and then I'm matte top coating that bit. You can go over the whole nail again if you want. I've chosen just to do the circle, and that is because I will be chroming, and obviously that would stick to the surface of the shiny we've just done. So next I am outlining. I'm just pulling some in. So because this pot's almost empty, I mean, it should be. I've had it like 4 years. These are really deep pots. I'm now just popping into the lid and using the lid as a palette while I use the last of it up, because I'm not throwing it away while there's some in there still. So this is going to be the frame of your watch. You can do this as thick or as thin, as ornate or as plain as you want, and it also does not have to be gold. It's just the colours seem to be black and gold for New Year's every year, so black and gold is what we've gone for. I decide I would like this thicker, so I do end up working it thicker. So do any of you celebrate New Year's? As in, like, have traditions or go out or anything? See, we used to run pubs a fair few years ago. So I've always worked New Year's. And since we've come out of that, we don't really celebrate. Well, we do celebrate New Year's, but we don't really go out. And since neither of us really drink, it's more of a just a stay in and watch the fireworks. Which I'm quite happy to do, because to be honest, my tolerance for drunk people is like tiny. I should have probably fast forwarded this bit. So I pop that into cure. I have already chromed this because I wasn't paying attention. I went over it with gel cleanse, and then I had the idea in my head of shit, what if the chrome doesn't stick? So the chrome did stick. There was no reason it shouldn't have stuck, but there you go. So here I am doing filigree lines. Slightly different to the one I showed you the first time, because I just decided to change it up a little. So what I do here, I did try and film. I borrowed my husband's phone, so I could film from a lower down angle to show you it, but that did not work at all. I'm going to have to figure out camera position so I can show you my brush on the nail properly. So what I do is I get a little ball right on the end. I place that down and kind of flatten my brush against it a bit. And as I'm pulling the curve, I'm lifting my brush off. So it's literally the wispy little tip, no more than the absolute tip, is then touching the nail as I pull it up and off. Kind of like, okay, I don't know whether this is a good example or a bad example, but you know, if you're painting a wall, when you first put paint on the paintbrush, you kind of press it down, don't you? But then as you're pulling off, you kind of pull the bristles in a sweep and then lift your hand up. That's probably a terrible analogy, but it's the best I can think of right now. Kind of like that motion. So you press on and then lift off as you're curling away, which is how I'm getting these tiny little lines. I am also using a fine brush, but as you can see, I do put quite a lot of gel on just so I get the raised design. Wasn't sure about the mirror frame after I'd done this one though. I think I may prefer the design I'd already practiced first and showed you at the beginning. But the filigree lines are they're just like C's with little wispy tails added to different sections. And you can do as many or as few of these as you like. You can also just leave the clock face with the plain frame, or you could add dots to it or anything else you like. You should also know when to stop and stop adding bits in when you don't need to, because it already looks full. So, do I cure those or do I keep going? No, I keep going. So I decide that I didn't like the plain frame, So I put some black gel and added dots to the edge of the frame, which I do believe I then cure so I can chrome. Now, because this is black gel paint, I full cure at 60 seconds. I do not part cure because I don't want the chrome to, not the chrome, I don't want the gel paint to be cured on top and then uncured underneath. Yes, it's already on top of product, so it's not going to be on your natural nail, but it's still not really a safe thing to have. And you don't want nails where you can poke them and the gel moves. So I'm just making sure to rub that in with my finger as well. And give it a good dust. And another dust because I decide there's chrome still there. Okie dokie, so now I go in with my fine liner and my Roman numerals. Could have used a slightly thicker brush for this because this one has like a tiny wispy end, which is great for filigree and other stuff, but crap for trying to do a tiny mini straight line. So you can do these and either leave them black or chrome them over, which is what I choose to do. And I pop some little dots there as well. Just for like our markers, just to fill it up a bit so it's not just like a plain dial face. Because obviously the way the nail curves, I don't have the 6 in there, but I am putting right on the corner tiny little arrowheads. And I'm going to give that a chrome. Now, because I want to see the pearl face, I use a shiny top coat. Another one I got off Temu, and they actually sell refill bottles for this in like a squeezy bottle, so I can just buy one of those and keep refilling that bottle. So I'm not doing the whole nail, I am going over the chrome of the clock face and the clock edge. So that will be shiny because I want to see the pearl, although the rest of the set is going to be matte. And then I decant a tiny bit onto my palette, and with the slightly thicker brush, not the skinny brush, I do go over all of the filigree. Because, you know, why not? Anybody with sense would maybe paint the entire nail because, let's face it, there actually isn't a lot of pink left on that nail. But I obviously thought, no, I'll just make it harder for myself. So I didn't record the full lot, but I essentially just top coated over every little bit of filigree. So here I'm using my pencil. I've sectioned the nail in half and then each half in half again because my portioning is not brilliant. And this is so I can write 2025 down the nail, which I've done in one of my favourite gold glitter gels. However, doing it again, I would either use caviar beads to give it the 3D effect in gold to tie in with the other parts of the gold, or I would do it in black gel paint and then gold chrome it, but in it because it's brighter. See, I love this gold, but you can hardly see it on these nails, and to be fair, my proportioning still isn't brilliant. Or as another option, if you have them, you could use a stamping plate with numbers on them and stamp them on and then paint over them. So it looks hand painted rather than a stamp. or even stickers. But I would not advise using a pale gel the way I have. And maybe proportion your numbers slightly smaller, so I've entirely filled the space. And I've left it in to show you because it's in the photo as well, but to be perfectly honest, I'm not a fan. And here is the full set. So thank you very much for watching. I know I have been a little slack with the videos this year, especially the past 6 months or so. But I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you give it a try. And if any of you use the pigment palettes and have any tips, please by all means fire them at me. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate your continued support. It means the world. Thanks. Bye.